Well, good morning and welcome to St George's Park for day 3 of this International Rugby Sevens tournament. We've had some cracking rugby through the first 2 days. It isn't about results, but of course day 3 will decide who comes top of the log in both the men's and the women's tournaments. In the men's tournament, well, the GB men are immaculate at the moment. They've won all their games, but they will be pushed. We have yet to really see the USA team click, and Ireland have shown moments of brilliance, particularly from the likes of Conroy and Sexton. From the women's perspective, well, France, until they came up against the Irish and lost that game yesterday, they had been 100%. But there's a very interesting mix going on in the women's tournament, and we shall watch with interest how these games pan out today. Great to have your company. We've had messages from across the world, from New Zealand, South Africa, America, all of Europe. So thank you for following us. If you haven't been with us, well, I promise you some very interesting rugby through the course of today. Now, we've been inside the GB women's camp to get some inside information from them. I spoke earlier to Jazz Joyce, the Welsh wing wonder, and also to Scott Forrest, their head coach, who gave me the insight as to how this weekend has gone from his perspective. So delighted to be joined by Scott Forrest, head coach of the GB Women's Sevens. Scott, this tournament was always about development, finding some answers to questions without maybe knowing the specifics. Do you feel that you have had those answers this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend, the first 2 days have shown us a lot. As a team, we knew coming into this, really it was about maximising our time on the pitch. We wanted players to get an opportunity to play. We've had that the first 2 days. In terms of answers, we've learned a lot. For me as a coach, I've learned a lot about certain individuals, and for us as a team, I think we've taken a big step forward, and that's what this has been about so far.
Results weren't the be-all and end-all of this weekend, but you go to day 3 and having lost to France twice, do you feel that, today could be a buoyant day if you want to go to work ahead with, if the girls can go 2 from 2 on this Monday?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. At no point have we spoken about results as a team. Ultimately, we know no Olympic medals are handed out this weekend. That's our ultimate aim as a programme. So this weekend has very much been about our performance. At the same time, every time players step on the pitch, every time you go on the pitch as a team, you do want to win. It's been a balance that we've tried to strike, I would say. Get into day 3. It's nice to be in a position that in the tournament there's still something to play for, but ultimately our focus is still on ourselves and on our performance, not so much on the outcome.
In this mixed up world that we're living in at the moment, nothing's for sure, and it's been great to get this tournament on. Let's say a big thanks to all those people that have managed to make this tournament happen. But it is theoretically the first step towards Tokyo. Do you know now what your timeline is after this? Have you been able to actually specify what's going to be happening? Yeah, so the next month for us is still to be confirmed. There's still conversations going on. I think where we are just now, we're just very grateful, like you say, having this opportunity to be able to play matches, have a tournament format. That's the big thing just now. We're very much focused in the here and now in terms of taking this opportunity. We know we will have more gameplay opportunities over the next month. What that looks like, we're not exactly sure. So our focus is very much on the here and now. And yeah, grateful for the opportunity. I think for me as a coach, this is exactly what we needed. We needed this. We've had a good couple of months training, but the players were ready to play. And I think, I've learned a lot about us as a team, and like I say, about a lot of the individuals in the squad. I've learned a lot about them this weekend. And presumably not just playing on the pitch, but the social side of it. There's only so much you can do on Zoom, and that it hasn't allowed for that social interaction, but the group have got to gel, and the strength often comes off the pitch, let alone on it. Yeah, and that's something we've tapped into. Obviously, it is a different environment. We have to do different things differently. I think the encouraging thing for me this week is seeing how the players have pulled together. I think when you've got a tournament and you've got a tournament week to prepare for it, it's a different feel to a normal training camp. The players have enjoyed that. For me, yes, things have been different, but it's a different challenge for me as a coach, for the players, but I think everyone has just embraced that and accepted that, well, this is the hand we're dealt. How do we maximise this opportunity? And you've got 22 players here. When's D-Day? When do you decide that special 13?
Yeah, so I think once we know what the next month looks like, once that's confirmed, then we can put a drop dead date on selection. We're looking at the middle of June is when we want to select the team by. I think for me as a coach, like I say, I've learned a lot this weekend. So yeah, there are still very much places up for grabs, is where my mind is at just now with the squad.
Well, good luck for this final day, and thanks for your company this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Well, when the game of rugby sevens wants to put a smile on its face, the face of Jazz Joyce always comes up. Jazz, you're having fun, you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, absolutely loving it. Like, it's been such a long time now since us girls have played on this pitch in the game of sevens, so I think every single one of us is literally playing with a smile on our face, regardless of winning, losing, and regardless of the weather, because in England, the weather's always rubbish.
And you never know what weather you're going to get in Tokyo, let's be honest, because, you know, it could be acclimatisation could be critical.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's why the game of sevens is so fun, because you never know actually what the opposition is going to give, but then you also don't know what weather we're going to have either. We play in all different types of weather, so yeah, I mean, I'd love it to be sunny, but who knows? We're preparing for all weathers.
This is all about gelling the group as well, because you've been on Zoom, you've been in training, but you maybe haven't had that downtime that you're used to and that you need to set up as a group. Now, I know that I think you, Abby, Meg Jones and somebody else is the social committee, is that right?
Yeah.
Have you been making things happen? Rona?
Yeah, Rona, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, like, obviously it's going to be tough for us guys. Like, we don't compete as a Team GB all year round, so we've got 3 different nations coming together. But, like, I think that's the most exciting part of it. Like, we've got 3 nations here, we're all bonding, we don't know each other before this. So I think having that social aspect of it, and now that the COVID rules are being lifted a little bit, we are able to do a little bit more, play some cards and actually have some coffee and sit and chat to each other, like, yeah, know a little bit more about each other's lives. And we've done some social stuff as well, like around on the pitch, outdoors, like rounders, we've done some hockey, but yeah, so loads of different cool stuff.
Does that competitive element still come through? Is there's certain people in this group that have to win?
Yeah, regardless of whether on the pitch doing...
Name and shame.
Yeah, okay, yeah, regardless of whether on the pitch doing rugby or on the pitch doing frisbee, but then actually when we're playing board games, people are actually really competitive. Name and no names, Natasha Hunt.
Oh, Mo Hunt, always up there. I knew that. I knew the answer to that before.
So competitive.
Yeah, I bet. You're one of the 4 or 5 that was actually in Rio. I think you said 4th place is the worst place to come. How much of a driver is that for you to make sure you're in Tokyo and obviously, hopefully, go better than you did back then?
Yeah, absolutely. From an individual perspective as well, I think myself, there's a little bit more pressure on myself to perform and get on that plane. But then also as a team perspective, I think there's no pressure on us to do well or to do bad. But I think coming away from Tokyo with a gold medal would be a dream come true and actually be the pinnacle of actually the whole journey that we've been through.
Is that belief there? Do you feel that in the group after what you've achieved this weekend? It hasn't been perfect, of course it hasn't, but you have obviously moved forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you say, it hasn't been perfect by all means, but I think this is the first tournament we've actually played against other opposition, and I think there's some really cool stuff out there, and the stuff we're doing is so exciting. And obviously we're playing different combinations. There's 22 to 24 of us at the moment, so like we're all playing with different combinations, but I think when he does nail it down to that 12, I think that 12 is going to go on and do some fantastic things.
And you've provided plenty of highlights this weekend. That tackle, the try against France yesterday, it was just astounding. You must feel in good fettle, you're in good form. Yeah,
I think playing with the players that I am around me, it makes it easier for myself to play well. And I think that the tries I'm scoring is credit to the girls inside of me giving the ball to me on the edge, and the fight and want to get it to the edge, and actually us wingers finishing off those tries. It's easy for us to run fast and score.
Just do it.
Yeah.
It's easy. Well, it's great to see you out on the pitch. Keep the smile on your face and good luck for Tokyo.
No, thanks very much. Thank you.
Well, what a pleasure it is and was to talk to Jazz Joyce. She has a positive effect on everybody she meets. And Scott Forrest obviously indicating things are looking good in the GB women's camp. Now, we're going to get play underway in just a few moments' time. Back into the men's competition with Ireland against the USA. Ireland have done the double over Mike Friday's group so far. There's the starting 7 from Anthony Eddy. So Jack Crowley gets another start. Aaron Sexton in there. Keep your eyes peeled for the number 11. Rory Scholes in as well in that starting 7. And then from the USA, well, it's not been an easy weekend for the visitors from across the pond. 0 from 4 so far. Madison Hughes will have to marshal his troops and make sure they get into the right sort of areas. Lots of youngsters there getting a bit more sevens experience. Welmers and Wheeler getting the start on this one. Lauta, the other forward there. And Yosefo, well, we know how experienced he has been through the course of the Sevens circuit. A familiar name and face, of course, to all that follow the HSBC World 7 Series. The weather, well, you know you like my daily weather forecast. The seaweed is not pointing anywhere at the moment, but hopefully it's going to be well, dry-ish. I think there's going to be showers and sunny spells, so you could take your mix. If you're joining us from the USA, well, that doesn't make pleasant reading for you fans, I know that, but it is a development situation. There are lots of familiar US names that aren't here. Perry Baker, Danny Barrett amongst them, Ben Pinkelman, another one. So it's all about a voyage of discovery in many ways for Mike Friday's men this weekend. But they could do with a tick in the win box today just to buoy them for their return home. And see how this works out. Of course, Aaron O'Sullivan and co will have got a repechage to prepare for in Monaco. So plenty for them to mull over. And lots of advance that they want to make in this tournament and have made. They really have provided yesterday that win over the USA 31-14 that started day 2. They provided some wonderful moments. 5 tries they ran in on that one. So the USA taking the field. I'm Simon Ward. Rob Vickerman will be joining me later, he assures me. Has other matters to look after first thing this morning, but delighted to have your company wherever you are. Thanks for joining us today, and of course through the prior couple of days here in Staffordshire. Craig Evans is going to be the man on the whistle for this one. Must say a big thank you to all the officials, been outstanding in this tournament. Sarah Cox, Adam Jones, Richard Horton, the man on the whistle, but there's been others as well that are supplying the backup touch judges. Craig Evans just checking his numbers, and it's going to be Nema Fualo to get things underway. Changing the option, take from Jack Crowley. Crowley, one of the debutants this weekend, who's showed really well. There's been a few of them. There's been, I think, 7 in total in this group. There is Crowley. Cut back from Lennox. Connor Phillips. Out it goes to Rory Scholes. Scholes and Mullin operating down that right channel.
Yeah, but the tackle's completed. Tackle's completed.
Phillips. Aaron Sexton. Working their way up for the first time into the US 22. Scholes. O'Sullivan opens the door for Mullin, and Gavin Mullin streaks over for the first score. Well, impressive work from the Irish, just biding their time, keeping things moving, and eventually stretching that US defence so that Gavin Mullin, on debut this weekend, one of those debutants getting his first senior try for the Ireland Sevens.
Yeah, 10. Fine. On the ground for me. Miss.
Well, you just see how well worked that try was. O'Sullivan just biding his time to put the his fellow forward away.
10, let's go.
So first dabs to the Irish. Lennox doesn't go the 10, but USA are going to play on, but they will go back, so they get a restart of their own. Madison Hughes calling for the scrum again, and if you were with us yesterday, it was something that Rob Vickerman was focusing on, was the option of scrummage that the USA took more often than not. Big group, of course, some big men in there. They had 235 pounds, 6'3". Yosefo as well, 6'2" at 210. Crowley gets outside his man, and there's the second try for Ireland. And this D, particularly down that left flank, it would appear is a problem for the USA. You look at the stats, they've run in 50 points through the course of the opening 4 games, but they've given away 100. You average 25 points a game, it's going to be a problem, and so it has proved to be through the course of the opening 2 days of this tournament. Just see young Jack Crowley, the Munster man, finding his way to market very easily there. Hugo Lennox finds the right club for this restart. Difficult falling pass for Hughes to pick up. The ball will be a little bit greasy. There has been some rain about this morning already, so there will be a certain element of handling difficulties you expect. There's Jack Crowley getting outside his man, Fualu.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold it.
Lennox steps 1, steps 2. The tackle. Ireland can go again. Crowley sets it back. Skulls over. 3 tries in the bag. Inside the first 4 minutes of this contest, it's been a one-way flow from the Irish perspective thus far. USA yet to land any real blows, metaphorically, of course. Lennox with a simple 9-iron to add the extras, and that is a very healthy looking scoreboard for Anthony Eddy to contemplate.
Minute and a half.
It's a tight encounter between these two on day 1, 12-10. But then that performance yesterday was pretty emphatic. Now that's an awkward one. Malachi Esdale who went out for the high ball, and Gavin Mullin coming through. Just have a look at that. I think it's a yellow card for Mullin, so Ireland down a man for the next couple of minutes. So is this the opportunity for USA to get some traction in this game? Yeah, Well, they're going to get the call from the line out. Hughes on the peel back, trying to set up a 3-on-2 down that right channel, but Ireland holding their position with the drift and the handling of Mata Leuta, just letting his team down there as the half-time gong goes. And, well, this is the reason for the yellow card. Gavin Mullen, to be fair, wasn't looking at his man and was competing for the ball, but took his man out in the air, therefore sees yellow. Hasn't impacted his team now because that scoreline looks pretty healthy. Half-time highlights, well, they're all about the men in green. There's that lovely little offload from O'Sullivan for the first score from Mullin. Jack Crowley has made sure that Ireland have kept things moving as quickly as possible and then added his own coup de grace there, taking that to the outside bend on Fualo. Just seen with heads up rugby and backing himself against his man. Good speed from the young halfback. The different try, I guess, of the three. Rory Scholes finishing things off. Here's the former Ulster fullback showing good muscle. So, a half that Ireland can be very satisfied with. Looks like Billy Dardis is off the bench.
Back around entry.
Hughes, such an experienced sevens operator, has got to try and steer this USA team into a positive sense, and it's more easily said than done, you suspect, with the way that their weekend has gone. Bench has been utilised by Mike Friday already. I can see Carlin Isles out there along with it's Anthony Wellmans, isn't it, wearing two. There he is, getting his tackle in, not over-committing to the breakdown. Ireland still down a man, don't forget. Oh, now they're not, as Alex Kendalling comes in. So, working back to full quarters. Sarah Cox, touch judge on this near side. One of the Olympic officials, of course, with Richard Horton, was announced last month. Whisk out into that Irish midfield. They have got so much confidence coming through their game now. Dardis showing, going and gone. Great score from the skip. Just see what he, again, we keep saying heads up rugby, but you've got to play what's in front of you. And Billy Dardis saw the way through to the try line. Amazing work from the island skipper. Now just looking through the stats from the HSBC World 7 Series truncated version as it was, but Dardis 49 conversions last season, second only behind Lewis Holland from Australia, got one more. But the extra points are so important, and when you can have a sure-footed kicker like Dardis in your ranks, it makes such a difference to the tally, especially of course in the tight games. And as we've discussed before, kicking, particularly in men's seven, seems to be far more prevalent and far more proactive in many ways. Caban Williams out to Brown.
You're not supporting. You're not on scrum.
Presentation.
You're not supporting your weight. You've got to reload.
Right now, what's Craig Evans given here?
Knock on scrum. If you're going to go in, you can't see.
The call has been changed. I think it's a knock on from an Irish hand. So the USA will get the put into this scrum. Marcus Waller hanging behind the scrum now. That's what he gave it for. The tap was taken, but it just squirmed out of the reach. Caban Williams getting a three-man Irish hug. Carlin Isles. Isles against Connor Phillips. See nothing of Jordan Conroy as yet. In this one, anyway. Schroeder. Williams. The kick doesn't work. The boot forward. Schroeder quick to react and does really well. I think he just lost it on the slide through, but at least he stopped the attacking opportunity.
Doesn't matter, lads. Go green. No, boys, bind up. Keep going. Crouch.
This is the first game we haven't seen Terry Kennedy play for Ireland. Just looking around, not sure whether he's on the bench or not, but he certainly was absolutely magnificent for the Irish through the opening 2 days in that midfield. Top try scorer in this men's tournament. 4 tries before play began today. And it's just a little bit of indecision there with Postlethwaite. But now the door opens. Fringe defenders not in place, and Jude Postlethwaite has an easy trot. Well, again, this US defence just not finding their cohesion when it comes under duress. And the pillar guard not in position quick enough. Just see here. They're moving out, not looking at the ball carrier. And that's an easy score. First score of the weekend for the Banbridge boy. Into the final play of this first match of day 3. And it's been one-way traffic. Hughes desperately trying to make sure they don't go through to the end of this game with a 0 against their name. Wheeler bundling his way up. The hooter's gone, but the penalties keep coming for the US as they begin to make some advance. First time really that they've done it in the whole match. Roll up. Evan Williams in, just knocking the ball forward, and that kind of sums up the US game. That's it. And it's all done. And the USA's plight continues. Ireland do the triple over the Eagles over this weekend. That the most emphatic performance they've produced. 33-0. Running in another handful of tries to support their cause and build up their momentum towards Monaco next month. Here's some of the highlights of that match. There you see the relative ease that Ireland open up that US defence time and time again. The halfbacks in particular, Crowley and Dardis, fan their way through. And that was the last score from Postlethwaite that put the icing on the cake for Anthony Eddy and his group. They've got one game left up against GB for the lunchtime kickoff. So let's move into the women's tournament. Ireland on again, this time up against France. Let's see the Irish starting 7. Well, a few changes there from Aidan McNulty. And you have to look at the bench to realise who's not starting, but great opportunity for the likes of Grace Moore, Kate Farrell-McCabe, Aidan Riley and Maeve Dealey. Claire Bowles also getting the start there up front. For France, well, familiar names in there. That's a strong, powerful starting 7 from David Cortex. Fanny Orta, we know and love from many a Sevens tournament. Carla Neeson and Caroline Drouin Will no doubt be the half-backs, Shannon Izar and Lena Guerin. And Serafina Kemba, who's proved to be one of the players of the tournament. This one first, in fact, that Siafani has not started, I think, over the course of the weekend. So, plenty of points to prove for some of these Irish youngsters, and that really is what this is about in many ways. Seeing if they've got what it takes to mix it with the best, and one of the best. Certainly France, has to be said, still got to go to that repechage to guarantee their place, their ticket to Tokyo, but surely they're going to make sure that happens. Richard Horton, and in the middle, take from Caroline Drouin. Then, well, she's a fly half normally, Drouin, indeed for France as well. Izar going a little bit the wrong way before trying to get Coralie Bertrand. That was a high shot though on Bertrand. Horton going straight to his pocket. I think it's a yellow card straight off. Well, high shot. Looks to me like Claire Bowles a little perplexed, but you've got to get lower. Kemba and Drouin combining well. Drouin striding away for the first score for France on day 3. Her first score of the weekend. See the work of Shannon Izar. And then Drouin stepping out of the tackle and finding nobody in front of her, with Ireland a player down. There was the gap to be exploited, and she duly did that. Ireland, of course, produced the performance of the weekend yesterday in this contest. 24-7 they won. Here's the tackle there. Yeah, there's no real excuses for that. Yellow card every day. So Ireland just looking to take their time now. Sensible sevens rugby, the order of the day. Once they're a player down. Good defence from France, just holding the line. Really that they could work from there, Ireland, so they'll be quite happy to take the kick as they're back to full strength.
You're the line, you're the line. Yeah.
Throw to Nick Award, straight. And this young Irish team know that they have to make the most of every opportunity. This is a seasoned and experienced French seven. They know all the nuances of the sevens game. So Ireland will have to make sure the basics are in place and in good fettle. The sunshine strikes Staffordshire. Neeson to Bertrand.
Leave the scrum early.
Stepping up offside gives the penalty to France. Horta. The release out to Guérin. Awkward bouncing ball. Very Small gets a boot on it. Forces France to go from deep, and Neeson can't take cleanly, so advantage Ireland.
Need you higher.
Just that one score on the board in the first 5 minutes of this game. Ireland ran in 4 in yesterday's game. A tight one to start with, of course, that opening game 14-12 on day one. Izar finds a way through, but brought down by Nick Award. Neeson. Bertrand gets the offload in. Horta comes round to clean up. Drouin. Oh, Guérin unable to take cleanly. Well, France seem to be manipulating the Irish defence to create those opportunities out wide, but Les Bleus unable to maximise that. Let's just take a look here. You can see Guérin having another faux pas with her handling. So, is this the opportunity for Ireland to get on the board before half-time? Bounce pass, but just about rescue it. A little offload for Grace Moore. Has to recover it though. There's no Murphy Crowe, no Mulhall in this Irish starting 7. This is about these youngsters taking responsibility now for the future of Ireland women's 7s. Avon Riley flips it away. Last play of this first half. Grace Moore goes with the big fend. But the ball comes loose, and France are going to try and make something of this from their own 22. Neeson out to Izar. Izar straightens up. Foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, and it's later, ladies. Izar under the posts. Well, we know from experience that half of 7s rugby is never over until that final whistle goes. France playing right to the end and striking from deep with that score from Izar. And this young Ireland outfit just learning all the lessons very quickly of international 7s. One wonders whether Aidan McNulty will make a few changes in the second half, or whether he's going to give them the chance to find out a little bit more about the way that they have to play this game. They played well, they showed well, but the mistakes that they made were capitalised on by the French. There was that yellow card from Claire Bowles. Worked that position on the right flank with Drouin stepping out of the tackle to stride away for the first score. See the tackler just falling off there. All tackling techniques so exposed in this format of the game, as we well know. And then Izar going from her own 22. Plays in the midfield in 7s, but played, well, across the back line really in 15s. This was the opportunity, Grace Moore going into the contact but being stripped of the ball, and suddenly it was there for Izar. So just looking to see, it's pretty much the same outfit wearing green for this second, certainly for the start of the second half. Katie Fitzhenry just watching on as Akemba rises high to take that restart. Drouin. Oh, through the tackle again. Wonderful score. Well taken by Akemba, the former Saracens player, showing great strength and athleticism, if I can say that this early on a Monday morning. Well, the start to the second half that Ireland were really hoping to avoid. 2 tries now either side of half time, putting France in the lead. You see how difficult it is to take Serafina Kemba down. Has that long leg drive. And she's there. Now you see it, now you don't. And now she's under the posts.
I'm back on.
Ireland now just having to focus on their own game. The result is really immaterial as Kate Farrell-McCabe makes some headway down that left channel. Nicola Ward looks short. Now it's out to Heffernan. It's an awkward pass for Grace Moore, but they're going to get the penalty. Moore, just taking her eye off it. Did she get boot to ball? No. Richard Horton, Johnny on the spot for that call. Just realising how accurate the passes have to be, even when they're running at full stretch. That was a lovely pass to open the door down the left for Farrell-McCabe.
No. Fine. Hit.
Here come France once again. Drouin scored in the first half. Is she going to score in the second? Great cover tackle in desperation though, because the slide over is strong enough to nail the try. Farrell-McCabe desperately trying to get back, did really well, but just ran out of room. Just see France taking the right lines to find that gap. And Drouin, well, she hit quicksand about here, but had enough to get over the line. The drive on. An opening again. Tired Irish bodies now. And dropping off the tackles a bit. And France making hay. Charlie Bertrand gets over for another one for France. Just the pace of Bertrand working so well there. It's 35-0 now. Drouin trying to change the options, but Nick Ward aware of the threat. Noticeably, McNulty not making any real changes to this outfit. The breakaway from Heffernan, Katie Heffernan, there to Grace Moore, and Moore is going to dot down. Well, there's a little bit of a smile on the face of the Irish women now as they break that bagel just in the final 2 minutes of this game. That's what they needed. And a special moment for Grace Moore, getting her first try of the weekend. Conversion doesn't hit the target, but really that's immaterial right now. Last 90 seconds or so of this game. And Ireland do get some reward for their endeavours. Plenty of youngsters, of course, still at home for the Irish. Bevan Parsons, Dorothy Wall, who had such a good Six Nations. Having just completed their college exams, they're back in training, but getting into sevens mode. Nick Ward cuts back against the grain. I'm looking for that second score just to have something to talk about. Grace Moore bundling away up a little bit further. France just galvanising their tackles a little more, trying to make sure that they don't fall off them. Moore showing good strength. Again, the left-handed pass just dropping. And, well, there goes the dongs to signify the end of the game. I think that Richard Horton has decreed there shall be one more play.
Fine. Set.
Here comes a break from Jacquet.
No release.
Well, Ireland going to keep their foot on right through to the end. The game is long gone, but that's immaterial really. The development of these youngsters so important to the Irish programme.
In there, you open the gap. Yeah, they're staying on their line. If you open up, you've got your space.
Many of these youngsters now what they call rugby natives. They've been full-time since 17, 18 years of age.
Right. Push, push, push. Melee. Melee. Melee.
Richard Horton's so enjoying himself, he's going to let play continue. I'm sure we're into the red zone, but the scrum is going to take place.
Right there.
France going from their own 22. Jacquet straightening things up. Jacquet, foot to the floor, and all the way for the final score of this match. Chloe Jacquet with her second try of the weekend, the Leon Flyer, finishing things off. Drouin with a little chip shot to take the extra 2, and the game is done and dusted. Finishes at Ireland 5, France 42. Well, here's some of the highlights from that second half, led by that try from Makemba. Now plying her trade with Stade Francais. Very impressive rugby athlete. See that being open out. I think that's Mathilde Coutouli with the pass. And then another breakaway from Drouin. Bertrand at the right place at the right time for the Chile Mazarin back. But Ireland's one moment of celebration. Grace Moore coming up to finish things off. See the break from Heffernan, showing a good turn of pace. Brought down just short, and then Grace Moore with a simple finish. And here is the last score from Jacquet. So France back to winning ways, and they will be setting up now for the final match at 4 o'clock with the GB team. Ireland will be playing GB next up in the 1 o'clock match there. A fairly emphatic scoreline, you have to say. There's the scores that we've had so far this weekend, and as you can see at the bottom of that list, GB up against Ireland next up, and then the final game in the women's tournament will be the GB Sevens up against this French outfit, and that is one to make your mouth water. So thanks for your company. Hope you've enjoyed the opening 2 games of day 3. There is the table as it stands, with France with a fairly sizable advantage at the moment, but of course Great Britain with that 1 game outstanding looks to be setting up maybe for a final clash to decide who's going to come top of the log come the end of this International Rugby Sevens tournament here in St George's Park. So join us at lunchtime as we move into the second chapter of day 3, and we'll see what the GB squads have got for us today. See you later.